time we came, there was no nursery. And I was like, oh no. And we sat our kids on the floor and nobody fussed at us. Nobody fussed at our kids. Everyone was darling and so excited to see us. Like, they were like excited to see us like they already knew us.
God loves everyone without exception. And so, I mean, that's exactly what young people, they might not even know that that's what they're seeking, but I think that's what I was seeking when I was that age. You know, you just don't know what it's missing, but there's just kind of a little hole in your heart. And wow, I think we can fill that. This community can help people fill that heart.
When Eric built the fireplace, he envisioned it to be a place of connection for our members, of small groups for Bible studies or conversations, and it really has become a place where people can sit and be comfortable and engage with one another. It's also sort of the introvert's corner for coffee hour, where a smaller group of people are sitting together. We've had Bible studies there. We have held our Sacred Ground in-person meetings there as we talk about becoming beloved community and really engaging with the history of the United States and some of its ugly past. But we do that kind of walking together in faith and a hope for a different future, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about beloved community. So it's been a space that can be a safe space to have deep conversations.
We have a place to recover the ancient wisdom and traditions of our ancestors, both of our indigenous ancestors and our ancient Christian traditions. We have a place to repair relationships and to reconcile those, bring them into the fold, people who have been harmed in the past by our culture and our church. And we have a place to reimagine the possibilities of living together in beloved community, a place to learn and grow together, to grow deeper and wiser in our faith, and a place especially to care for each other.
We were looking for a church that was affirming to the LGBTQ community and just was aligned more with our values, and that's sort of hard to find in general, but especially moving to Enumclaw, we struggled to find that. And my husband and I both grew up in a church that was still actively struggling with that, and we were just kind of ready to be at a church that wasn't struggling with that anymore. And then we came and we adored Bonnie immediately and just really felt at home.
In 1980, after the St. George community of about a dozen individuals had been wandering from place to place, they began in the Litras home with Eva and George Litras. But then they were moving from place to place, once at the Maple Valley Library, sometimes at some other churches, and finally they came to this spot on Whitty Road. And initially they just had a small double-wide portable that is sort of the backside of our fellowship hall, and they worshiped there. They'd kind of outgrown that space. And John Marcus did the addition, which is where we have fellowship on Sunday mornings now, and which was our sanctuary for years and years. And so that space is sort of imbued with all of the prayers of the generations that went before.
It's been a long journey for us. Our original building there at the current St. George property was actually 2 modules that we bought from Lake Washington School District. And we had them shipped down via, transported down. And I remember the day when they came in, because we had to clear out the area for them to sit. And Dad's crew was there as far as the builders and stuff like that. And we put them in place and pushed them together. I remember somebody having a backhoe there to help kind of move the buildings a little bit. And we got them up on blocks and got it all squared away. And that was the start of the current St. George.
And that served us real well. And for a long time, before we even started dreaming about a bigger church. Then came the idea, well, maybe we build a basement just for Sunday school. So we saved and saved for 4 years. Well, it took so long to get a building permit anyway, but it was also money saving for 4 years. And then we had enough for the basement. And that irritated me because I said, we saved so long. And at my age, now we have only a basement. I want a church. I want to finish it, and people could see something where the money goes because they have a church. Well, and we pushed it, I pushed it, and we got a church.
The thing that I loved about the people at St. George is just how warm and welcoming they are, how much they care for one another, and how they gather together as a community, not just because they feel they need to show up on Sunday for God, but because they show up for each other.
One of the unique experiences that I've had at St. George is the volume of participation and depth of adult faith formation opportunities. From Bible study to groups on grief to Episcopal identity and core beliefs, the offerings are rich and deep, both the diocesan and local levels. Earlier this year, I joined a group of 10 St. George members in one of our new offerings, Sacred Ground. Participants are invited to peel away the layers that have contributed to challenges and divides of the present day, all while grounded in our call to faith, hope, and love.
We're this little church that wants to know people. That's who we are. And I think as long as we carry that into the future, we're going to be good.
As a society, sometimes we forget how much children are members of our society, and having a place like St. George where Brendan and all the other kids and all the youth I get to work with are really seen as their own individuals with gifts who bring value is, I think, immeasurably important.
If I remember correctly, the Horns and us were the only ones that had little kids.
For a while.
For a while, and so it was easy to kind of fit in because we got involved like in Sunday school and that kind of stuff. So it was fun.
Eston Collins was a supply priest we had for a while, and he stated that give them roots when they first come, when they're young, and then when they grow up, chances are they're going to try other stuff, do other things. But you got to give them the roots so that they can come back, because they will come back to the church.
When I got pregnant, that's when we started coming on a regular basis, because we felt it was important we wanted our daughter christened, and we felt it was important.
And so in order to meet this vision for the future, this intergenerational welcoming church that really brings up the next generation and welcomes all people to St. George to work together in mission and ministry, we need to find the resources in order to be able to increase some of the staffing in ministry. And so what we are asking the congregation to consider is above and beyond what you give to our operational budget, which pays for our current staff, so please don't reduce that in order to help pay off the rest. But we're asking that if you have resources above and beyond that, that you can give towards paying off this $1 million loan with the diocese, that would free up all these resources.
You believe the community will come together?
I do believe, yes, I do believe that. It's a good foundation, and when people can see that, even when I'm talking about newer people that come in, they see a good foundation, they see warmth, because that's Almighty, You know, when somebody comes in, I like to take time and talk with them. So the warmth of the church is like the glue, and it's going to hold people there.
I'm thankful. I think one thing that I've learned is to be thankful for everything. For individuals that you've known, for experiences that we've had here at St. George, from wreath making to the picnics to the whatever barbecues that we have. And all these things together help reinforce my faith.
I would hope that our kids don't grow up and go away, but grow up and stay in community, whether it's here at St. George or where they go to college, or as they live their adult lives. It would be awesome if everybody stayed here in Maple Valley and stayed at St. George, but we know that may or may not happen. But with the nurturing and the scriptures they learn and the songs they sing, the memories they make, the activities they've had, would always be there in their hearts to draw them to Jesus wherever they are.
Bonnie will say, the service has ended, but your work has just begun. So being at church is not really the work we do, it's where we inspire people to do the work when they leave the church.
About $200,000, we think, and it could be more, in interest is going to be paid with that loan. And we would rather pay it off sooner and be able to use those resources for mission and ministry here at St. George. So I would just invite all of you to prayerfully consider if there are resources that you could give towards that effort to pay off that $1 million loan. 3/4 of it, about 75% of it, was already paid for by our congregation, which started out smaller than it is today. And so although $1 million sounds like a lot, it is only 1/4 of how much has already been given to this project.
Do you feel happy with where the progress of St. George is going? To where are we going? Is your heart content?
Oh, absolutely. When we can think of when it started and what we went through to keep it going, and then it happened, and who was to know that we would be in a church like we are in a church right now, and all the people coming and coming. Yes. I mean, that is something.